James, the UK seems like it's failing, but not only that, it's getting depressing. And I want to make this video. And before anyone goes at me, you know, I am proud to be British, okay? I am not putting the UK down to say it's a terrible place and you should only invest or live in Dubai. I'm not one of those people, because I wish the UK wasn't like that. But it is right now. People are depressed, people are unhappy, people are miserable. Let's talk about what's happening and why are so many people, for this reason, coming to Dubai.
Look, I think, like you said there, firstly, Joe, I love the UK as well. I get a lot of hate messages on there saying to me, "Yeah, you're not even flipping British. You're a fucking Pakistani or whatever." Let's get one thing straight. I was born and bred there. I've paid a lot of tax there, and I do like the place. But genuinely, when we put these videos out, it's kind of almost like you're a little bit hurt to see where your hometown's gone. I think, look, every time I go back, it just seems to be depressing, and my trips get shorter and shorter and shorter. Like, I go back sometimes for 2 or 3 days, fly in, do what I need to do, and fly straight back out again. That's how depressing it is. The minute you land in the airport, for starters, no one's smiling. Security is all up on their own arse. And you just think, when you're used to what's going on in Dubai, when you leave Dubai to fly somewhere, everything's so streamlined, everything's so nice, everything's so inviting. And then you go into an environment where things are a little bit depressing. Now, look, I don't blame everybody for it. The government is making it tougher for people, and people are starting to feel the pinch. I mean, I remember going in last time and stopping for a Diet Pepsi at a petrol station. It was £3.50 for a bottle. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, and now I can see the cost of living going up, so it must be affecting a lot of people. But I think other than that, the government, they know it's a shit show at the moment, but they're not helping.
No.
You know?
No, I've seen this happen for, the past number of years. I moved to Dubai a number of years ago now. And, you know, a lot of my clientele who are probably watching this video as well are in the UK, are considering leaving. And I know, listen, I appreciate that for some people it's impossible to, you know, get up and leave. You know, somebody who's spent the past 10, 20 years building an entire business that relies on being in that country. But for them, they're taking the hit the worst. And I'm seeing like friends who are, you know, local tradesmen, you know, building businesses, but then getting so heavily affected, you know, even trying to build property portfolios with the money that they've earned and spent 10 years earning, but can't actually make any money because all of these new tenancy rights and so forth like that. So what do you think the reason is it's making it so hard for people in the UK to do business right now?
Do you know, look, I've come to the conclusion that the UK is pretty screwed anyway. There's a deficit to be filled, right? And the only way they seem to be recovering this money is from the people. By increasing taxes, by increasing this, by bringing this new legislation in, that new legislation in. I mean, a recent one that I saw was selective licensing. So before you could rent your property, and providing it wasn't a multi-let, you could let it. Now most boroughs are doing selective licensing where they're nicking 800 quid from every single landlord. You think if they're doing that for a piece of paper, it's not long before they start filling in this deficit. And I think they need to find other ways of plugging this gap, not making it harder for people and taxing people even more to fill a gap that they've stupidly created.
Yeah.
You know? And like you said, more and more people are coming out here. I see people just saying to themselves, sod it, I'm not dealing with this anymore. All right, it's an initial investment for a family to come out here. You've got to put a lot of money down. But once you're out here, you know? And the great thing about Dubai when you're starting a business here, number one, you're not panicking about it and you tax it. You're not like, oh shit, I've earned this amount this month. How do I have to pay? You're like, all right, you know, let's springboard.
Exactly. Let's walk through someone like the steps. I mean, I can say some, you can say some. So for someone that's, I guess we're going to start with your scenario because mine's not so unique in a sense that I came out here. I was single at the time. I just moved out here as a young lad trying to make money, right? So like for me, it was pretty straightforward. Come over here, find my feet and figure it out. However, you came over with a family, which is totally different. Right? You had to find schools. You had to find a place to live. You had to understand communities. You had to make money. Yeah. You know, you had to figure everything out by yourself. What would you say was the sort of like first few steps, and what were the things that you overcame to get here?
So look, I think the triggering point for us leaving was when I saw what my little 7-year-old was being taught on the curriculum. All of this wokeness, you know, they're teaching them about oral sex as a 7-year-old on the curriculum. I thought to myself, no, I'm not dealing with this nonsense anymore.
What's that?
Yeah, that was on the curriculum and I saw it and I thought to myself, no, I'm not dealing with this. And the fact that there was kids in his class I could identify as cats or dogs, you know, and I thought, what craziness is this? Am I the only person standing here who's got a massive problem with a kid who can identify as a cat sitting in a classroom and it's allowed to go up and scratch other kids because it's a flipping cat?
Because it's a cat, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a real triggering point for us. But moving out here, I think number one, the biggest thing for us was schools. Obviously having kids, you want them to have a nice transition. But the surprising thing about Dubai is no matter what school we looked at the facilities and we were like, damn, This is like university standard, you know? So even a entry-level school has great facilities. So schooling wasn't a problem. Number 2 was, where are we going to live? That was a big one. Now, when we came out here, obviously we didn't know any communities. So we were living somewhere in Dubai land in a big high-rise. And I'm looking out on the 18th story thinking, oh man, where have I moved to? So I think number 2, for anybody considering moving out here, you need to speak to someone who can advise you of a good community.
Yeah.
And then I guess number 3 was making money. And all I've known for the last 20 years is real estate. So it just made perfect sense to go into that industry.
Yeah.
And even though people, whenever you tell someone you're in real estate here, oh, you're one of those guys, are you? You know, it's got a bad press, but hey, it makes money.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's only got a bad press because the level and the entry level to brokering out in Dubai and real estate is very low. So, you know, anyone can become a real estate agent. And I've said this before, people are just chasing the cash. They're not thinking about the long term. They're not thinking about the future. They don't really care about the client. They're selling the projects for the highest commission.
That's really sad as well, man. People that, you know, how can you just take someone's money knowing that this is a huge investment for them? And I've seen it before, like brokers, once their commission's paid, they'll block someone because they don't want to deal with aftermath. They don't want to deal with paperwork. They don't want to go into developers and chase shut up for them. So, yeah, seen that many times before, man. But
so let's go back to, you know, again, people coming from the UK now, like, we don't need to go into how depressing it is. We already know that it's not so great right now. For someone that's got the ability to move out here now, what are the first steps they're going to take? I mean, I want to ask you from we're not trying to sell somebody something on this video, like just invest. I'm just saying from living, whether they're going out to rent, you know, let's talk about that.
yeah,
What are the first steps they need to take?
I think if you're coming out with a family, find the school first because you want to be located close to the school because traveling in the morning when there's school traffic, yeah, you don't want to be miles out. My advice, and learn from the mistakes, go straight into a good community where you can see kids, you can see nannies, you can see people walking.
Let's name a few. Let's talk about semi-affordable communities.
Oh, number 1 is going to be Town Square. Absolutely.
The Mac Hills?
Yeah, I'd go to Mac Hills as well.
Yeah.
Then Arabian Ranches.
Arabian Ranches 2, 3, or 1 is obviously, you know, the most mature, but 2 and 3 are a bit cheaper.
And
Three's the cheapest.
if you want to go a little bit further out, you got the Villa community by Dubai Land, which is, well, in Dubai
Yeah,
Land.
the Villa.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to get something really. If you want the villa that's got the swimming pool at the affordable rate, that's where you want to go. And if you're okay with traveling a little bit longer, that'll be another great community to go to.
Yeah, something a bit more upmarket. We can look at Dubai Hills.
Yep.
We can look at Arabian Ranches 1.
Yep. Jumeirah Golf Estates.
Samira Golf Estates. You've got Emirates Living Community, so Springs, Meadows, and then also Emirates Hills if you want something really upmarket, you know.
Yeah.
And if we're going to go down that route, we can even talk about the Palm, you know. But for a family point of view, I mean, you can look at any of these communities. So I think it's worth, I mean, coming to Dubai first of all. Would you say that it's easy for people to get an idea of the community by just driving around?
Do you know what? I think, yes, you can. If you drive into community, you'll get a good feel for it.
Because we're in Town Square right now, but the first time I came here, I drove into it and I was like, wow, this feels different. I stayed around, got some lunch, had a coffee, went to the sales centre, had a bit of a chat with people, and I'm like, man, this is nice, you know?
Yeah. I think moving, when you're looking to move here, walking around a community can give you a good idea. But I'd always say, go with somebody who knows the community.
Exactly.
Go with a broker who can take you around and he can show you the real ins and outs, because when you're on your own, you may not see the negatives of the community. You might just see the positives. Whereas, you know, whenever somebody comes around there, I always tell them, in the morning, traffic can be a slight issue, but the community's counteracted that with a brand new road opening in 2025 first quarter. And you may not see that depending on what time of the day you come. But yeah, go out there, explore it, go and have a meal, go and talk to people. Just ask random people walking around, why do you live here?
And then, let's say point number 2, step number 2, I guess you'd have already identified schooling before you come to Dubai.
Yep.
So I think step number 2 is identifying how close the community is to the school.
Yep.
All right. Factor in that it might be quite busy at school times. Is there anything else you would suggest?
Then you've got to look at transport as well, because, I mean, schools all offer school bus services, but you may want to have your own car. So then you've got to start looking at getting your driving license converted over, depending on which country you're coming in from. That can be a bit of a nightmare, because if you're not on the green list of where they just convert it over, you got to go and do the driving test, which is pretty damn hard here. It's pretty long.
It's very hard to drive in Dubai when you first come. Yeah, it's not hard. It's just intense, you know. No one's forgiving. No one lets you in.
There's no such thing as give way. It's take way.
Yeah, take way. You've got to be a bit aggressive, you know.
And then you've got to get a car. You know, you've got to find a car. You've got to look at a suitable source on where you're going to buy your car. Then you need to know the registration process. All of these little things you need to consider.
One thing I do want to say as well, if you are going to come over from the UK and you're just going to come out straight away. Like, you're not even going to visit here first or speak to it. You're just going to go and just try it out. You're going to have to do everything short term in that scenario. And if you do it short term, things are a little bit messy and a bit expensive, you know. Short-term rentals are expensive. Short-term car rentals are expensive. So everything short-term is expensive in Dubai. So if you have the ability to get some sort of visa set up prior to coming to Dubai, whether that's you're working for a company or you're setting up a business, do all that first so that when you move over here, you've got your Emirates ID, you can take out a long-term car lease, you can take out, a long-term apartment lease, and then things are a little bit more streamlined.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point, because now it can take anything up to a month, 2 months to get all of that sorted. And if you're in an Airbnb, you're going to be paying 20, 30, maybe even 40% more than you'd be paying on a long-term let. So that's really good advice.
Yeah, and I would also say if maybe if you've got a family and kids, bring them out, and rather than going to the Atlantis and all these fancy hotels or wherever you're staying, go and stay in some Airbnbs in the communities on your holiday, just to get an idea of what it's like. Because as soon as you move and you've got all your luggage and it's time to pack up and say goodbye to the UK or wherever it is in Europe or the world, it's stressful.
Yeah.
It's stressful.
And that's a really good point, Joe, because whenever somebody comes out to Dubai, they stay in the Palm, they'll stay in JBR, they stay in the Marina, and these are all tourist spots. And then people will say, oh, it's really nice, it's really busy. But no, when you live in Dubai, you've got to actually act as you're living. So like Joe said, go and hire an Airbnb for a couple of nights in every single community and see what's going on.
Yeah. And then the last thing I would say is that, regardless of your age or your network, it gets quite lonely at first in Dubai. So make an effort to go meet people, go to the local gyms, go to, you tell me what you would do. I'd go to the gym.
Do you know what? You're absolutely right.
Classes. Gym.
Yeah, I always say to people, there's that 3 to 4 month period when you come out here and you think to yourself, damn, have I done the right thing? Have I made the biggest mistake of my life? But when you get over that 3 month period, you're never going to look back. And Joe's absolutely right. Go to the gym, go and do some classes. If you're a talkative person, just go to a coffee shop and just talk to people. Yeah. Become a familiar face. Go to networking events. The thing I love about Dubai, everybody wants you to grow. So it's easy for you to connect to people. So if there's somebody in your industry that you really want to talk to and they're on Instagram, I can guarantee you drop them a DM. If they're not too massively famous like Joe, they'll probably...
Everyone who's watching this, I always do make an effort.
They'll probably reply back to you, and it's easy to grab a coffee with people. And I've had coffees with some big players out here. And you know what? There's so much to go around in Dubai, so much money, so much success, that everybody's prepared to help and share.
For sure. All right. So you saw what we did there, guys. We started off with... what seemed like maybe a negative video, and we took a spin on it and give you a bit of an insight how to be, how it can be a positive experience. I know it's scary, it's overwhelming, it's confusing, but when you've got genuine, honest people like myself and James, we can walk people through this step by step. We're not here to just take money off people. We're here to build relationships and genuinely help people, because we were once those people who were confused and overwhelmed. But now look at us, we're thriving. It's a beautiful summer's day, sitting on a great park, but I'll get some breakfast. Can't complain, can we? Any more advice? Is there one last piece of advice you'd give to someone from the wherever they are in the world?
Yeah. Look, certain times in your life you have to pivot. Certain things take their course. So I really do feel there's countries right now where it's going to take a long time for them to improve. And you got to be realistic with yourself. If you're in your 30s, you probably got another 40, 50 years of living to do. And I'm sorry to say, I can't see some of these countries getting better in 20, 30 years. So just pivot and go somewhere else. Start again. Move where the success is. Success leaves clues. Get out there. Get to somewhere where it's doing some good stuff.
Amazing. If anyone needs any more information, go check below. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much.